Okay guys, gonna do another saxophone video. Amazon got me with their search algorithm and actually suggested this alto saxophone after I purchased the soprano saxophone that I reviewed just a couple of days ago. I couldn't pass this thing up. They had a warehouse deal where this saxophone was $151, so I went ahead and bought it. Essentially what the ad said in the details was some cosmetic defects on the top and sides of item. I opened it up, everything's all still shrink wrapped, and it looks like a brand new saxophone. The only thing I could see were a couple of issues with the stitching here and around the back side of the case here, but elsewise the saxophone was what I could tell brand new. I have next to it a vintage Conn saxophone, and I've had the saxophone for actually a bunch of years now. It recently had a full mechanical rebuild, so it's in tip-top shape. This is a really well-renowned saxophone. It's a 6M or Chewberry saxophone, and it's a really great player. I've got a couple of different mouthpieces here, but similar to the last video I did, I'm going to give you an overview of what this one came with. The retail on this saxophone is $500, but I did see a couple of other warehouse deals ones on there, so I'll post the link. Maybe you guys will get lucky and get one for the low price as well. Inside this case, you'll see it's got a bunch of pockets and some straps and stuff. Similar to the last saxophone I reviewed, it's got the foam formed inside. Now this one is a Jean Paul brand. It's not a Lazaro like the last one I reviewed. It's a little bit different. The case is actually not quite as nice. It's kind of loose inside. I was a little bit disappointed to see that. However, the outside is harder, which is nice, especially if this is like a beginner saxophone and you're going to be hauling it around. Outside of that, there are a few things inside it. We've got a couple of cleaning cloths. This one's a pull through. This one's just a rag. Some gloves here. This is just a shoulder strap for the saxophone, and then it came with a little neck protector there. The saxophone itself, and then came with this mouthpiece. This mouthpiece has a Rico ligature, Rico cap. I can't find any markings on the mouthpiece itself to tell me what type of mouthpiece it is. It's pretty good. Looks like it's probably like a 4C in terms of opening size, so pretty decent. Unlike the Lazaro saxophone that I reviewed, I actually would recommend that you get an upgrade. I played on this one, didn't really like it, couldn't get it to work for me, so I recommend you upgrade this thing. You can get a 4C Yamaha mouthpiece for like 26 bucks, so it's not too bad. The one that I'm going to kind of show you the difference in playing on is actually a Jumbo Java. This is a really popular mouthpiece. The one that I am using is an A45. I'll post the link. It's pretty reasonably priced. I was a big metal mouthpiece fan until I found these Jumbo Javas, and now I have one for tenor as well as alto. The mouthpiece I was using previously was a C-Star. It's actually an old Selmer Scroll, so this is probably, I guess, 30s. 1930s is the age of this one. This is what I was using before. It's got a really mellow sound, but I'm going to go ahead and demo on this Jumbo Java, and we'll actually start here with this Jean Paul saxophone. Overall, just giving it some visual look over. The saxophone's got some cool engraving. It's not as deep as the soprano that I reviewed, so definitely a little bit lackluster in comparison. That said, the key feel is excellent on this saxophone, and one thing you'll notice if you put this up against a more professional instrument like this Conn is the palm keys as well as the rest of the keys are more away from the body for beginners, so it's a lot easier to play, which is nice. If you're trying to go fast, obviously something with the keys closer to the body is nice. But let me go ahead and jump right into it. I'll start on this one. Let me swap the mouthpiece over here, and I'll give you guys just a couple of notes so you can hear the difference. And just a quick note on the rest of this kit here. I'm using some Van Doren 2.5 reeds. I've got my normal tooth guard on here, and then it's a Rovner ligature. Really like these ligatures. Definitely highly recommend. This one's actually a really cheap one. I think I paid like 10 bucks for this one, so you don't have to go crazy and buy a really expensive one, but I really like the band style instead of some of these other screw type ones. So overall, the saxophone plays well. It doesn't like leak anywhere. I think the craftsmanship is pretty good for an inexpensive saxophone. I've played some beginner Selmer saxophones. They're a lot easier to keep in tune. This one does feel like it's trying to wander just a little bit. Now I do have this mouthpiece has. It's pretty baffled inside, so that's kind of to be expected. Some cool things you get on this saxophone, you get these tapered steel rods, which is nice, or springs rather, which is nice. Again, all the keys themselves feel really good, and it's pretty noisy, but they all feel really good. None of them are loose, which is great. I know another YouTuber did some maybe a bit more in-depth video, and he was going through all the keys. I can kind of corroborate that. All these keys are really tight. The only thing is I can notice that this thing can get out of tune if you're not watching it. So I think for the price, like if I were going to go spend $500, I'd probably try and find a used Selmer or Yamaha rather than buying something like this. Now if you can get it for $200 or $300, you're not going to get any other saxophone for that, and it's pretty good. Like, it's not going to hold a young student back, and it's just going to sound out of tune, which a beginner is going to be out of tune anyway. But yeah, I'll go ahead and compare it for you real quick to the vintage Con that I've got here. Yeah, so this one, as you can hear, and you know, it's not really a fair comparison. This is several $1,000s. This is less than $200. This one is definitely a better sound. It's more full. It's more focused. I like the key layout better. That's more preference, I guess. But overall, it's easier to control. I'll go ahead and play through these other two mouthpieces just so that you can kind of hear the difference, hear some of the differences between the mouthpieces themselves. And again, I'm using these 2.5 reeds on all of them. Probably get different results if you change up the reeds a little bit. I was going through this box. Not sure if I just got a bum box, but a lot of these reeds are cut off center, which I was really disappointed to see from Van Doren. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. But I'll probably be switching it up in the next box that I buy. couple of scales, and I'm not a really good alto player, so that's probably not helpful for this review, but overall, like, intonation all over the place, some sharp notes, some flat notes, and like I said, part of it's definitely me, but a large part of it is the saxophone. This mouthpiece that comes with the saxophone doesn't have a baffle in it, which is nice. Maybe gives you a little bit more mellow sound, and with the 2.5 reeds, you can kind of hear it's a bit more forgiving, which is nice. But still not a tremendously good sound. Again, this is not a mouthpiece that you're going to be able to find on Amazon. This mouthpiece is, I guess it's like 90 years old now, but the C-Star mouthpiece opening is pretty common. I'll put a link to a couple of similar openings so that you can kind of shop around. Okay guys, so just played these two saxophones a little bit for you. I like this saxophone. I mean, for 150 bucks, you're not going to find anything else like this. It doesn't leak, all the keys work, everything plays pretty well. It's got some cool visual stuff here going on with the etching all over the bell, which is nice. The keys actually feel really good, and I couldn't find any evidence of like poor craftsmanship on the saxophone. Like, everything feels pretty solid. I will say that I was not expecting an alto sax to be this much effort to keep in tune. The other altos I've played really do most of that for you. I mean, it shouldn't be like a soprano sax. So for that reason, I'd be a little bit hesitant. I think if you can get the saxophone on sale, maybe in the $300 or $400 range, I would pick it up. Any more than that, and I'd probably err on the side of going and picking up a Yamaha or a Selmer, and then just asking a tech to go through and make sure all the pads seal for you after you buy it. So I guess that's overall my impression of it. It's worth the money if you can get it at a good price. It's not going to blow your socks off. If I were to rank them, I would definitely say that the Lazaro that I just purchased last week is probably a better buy, and I might actually go pick up the Alto of the Lazaro and just kind of compare it to this one to kind of see what the difference is. I was expecting a bit more from this saxophone. I think it's made in the USA. I think it's made in Florida, and it's got really good reviews. I think just comparing it to the other brand that I just reviewed for around the same price range, I'm just left a little bit disappointed with the purchase. Again, for the price, you can't complain, but it's not a 100% go buy it right now type purchase. So I'll leave you guys with that. Leave your thoughts below in the comments, and please subscribe. I'm sure I'll have more saxophone stuff going up in the next couple of days. Got a couple of Amazon orders coming up here on the horizon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.